Welcome back my YouTube channel Coin Discovery Old Zone. Today, we're going to explore a fascinating and often overlooked treasure from American coin history, this coin 1942 United States 1 cent wheat penny. Though small in size, this coin carries a story that bridges world events, economic shifts, and the heart of American numismatics. The 1942 wheat penny is part of the long-standing Lincoln cent series that began in 1909. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this cent features the bust of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks surrounding the words 1 cent on the reverse. The reverse design gave the coin its nickname, the wheat penny. WY 1942, the United States was deeply involved in World War II. The war had significant effects on the economy, and as resources like copper became vital to the military, the U.S. Mint began looking for alternative materials for coinage. While 1943 saw the introduction of steel pennies, 1942 was the final year for regular copper alloy usage before this major change. The typical 1942 penny was made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It weighs 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. These technical specifications may seem standard, but even slight variations in these elements can greatly influence a coin's rarity and value. 3 Mint produced the 1942 penny. Philadelphia, no mint mark. Denver, marked with a D. And San Francisco, marked with an S. Combined, they struck over 950 million coins that year, making the penny common in circulation. However, what sets our 1942 pennies apart is not just where they were minted, but how they were made, preserved, or misstruck. Collectors often search for errors and varieties, and the 1942 wheat penny does not disappoint. Some of the most sought-after errors include double die obverse, off-center strikes, and repunched mint marks. Each of these anomalies can add hundreds or even thousands of dollars to a penny's value. 1 particularly rare and mysterious variety is the 1942 experimental bronze planchet coin, believed to be part of a test batch for potential changes in composition. These experimental coins were never meant for circulation, but a few were reportedly released by mistake, making them highly coveted by advanced collectors. The condition of a 1942 penny is crucial to its value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor, P1, to mint state, MS70, with uncirculated examples commanding the highest prices. Even common 1942 pennies in average circulated condition may only fetch a few cents, but pristine examples can be worth far more. Over the years, coin collectors have discovered that certain 1942 wheat pennies, especially those with unique errors or high-grade mint state condition, can fetch astounding prices at auction. These coins are not only collectible, but also historically significant, connecting us to a time of global uncertainty and American resilience. Now, let's talk value. The average 1942 wheat penny is worth between 5 to 50 cents, depending on condition. However, rare varieties or high-grade uncirculated coins have reached much higher prices. In a headline-making auction, one exceptional 1942 Lincoln cent sold for an astonishing $1.6 million. This example had a near-perfect grade and an extremely rare minting error that made it virtually one of a kind. What drives such a high valuation is a combination of rarity, condition, demand, and the coin's backstory. Serious collectors are always looking to complete their Lincoln penny series or to acquire unusual variants. When the right coin appears, fierce bidding wars can drive prices into the millions. It's important to note that not all 1942 wheat pennies are valuable. The vast majority remain common, even 80 years later. But the possibility of finding a hidden gem in a collection, or even in loose change, keeps the search alive for hobbyists and professionals alike. If you think you might own a valuable 1942 penny, it's worth having it appraised by a certified numismatist. Authentication and professional grading are essential, especially when it comes to rare or potentially high-value coins. Beyond the numbers, The 1942 penny tells a powerful story. It's a symbol of wartime America, when even the smallest resources were repurposed for the war effort. Each penny struck in 1942 is a little artifact from that pivotal moment in history. Collectors cherish the 1942 wheat penny not only for its potential value, but also for its connection to the past. Holding one in your hand is like holding a piece of history, a small, copper link to the people and events that shape the world we live in today. Even beginners can enjoy collecting 1942 pennies. They are affordable, easy to find, and offer a great introduction to error spotting, grading, and American mint history. For many, it's the start of a lifelong passion that, whether you're just getting started or you're a seasoned numismatist, this coin 1 cent 1942 United States wheat penny coin history. This coin 1941 United States 1 cent wheat penny. This small copper coin has captured the attention of collectors for generations and holds a unique place in the rich history of U.S. coinage. The 1941 wheat penny was minted during a significant time in world history. As World War II began to reshape nations, the United States was still maintaining neutrality. This penny, though small, is a tangible reminder of an era that was on the brink of great change. It's not just a piece of copper. It's a preserved moment from 1941 that the obverse side of the coin features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This image has been used since 1909, and it marked the first time a U.S. president appeared on a regular issue American coin. Brenner's initials can be found just beneath Lincoln's shoulder on some issues, though they were removed and later restored. Above Lincoln's head are the words "In God We Trust," a motto that remains consistent in American coinage. To the left of Lincoln, the word liberty is prominently displayed, and to the right, the date 1941 is stamped. On some specimens, especially those struck in Philadelphia, the absence of a mint mark is completely normal. Turning to the reverse, we see the classic wheat ears design, which gives the coin its popular nickname, the wheat penny. The reverse was also designed by Victor D. Brenner and features two stylized stalks of Durham wheat curving inward on both sides of the coin. Between them are the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Beneath that is the Latin motto E pluribus unum, which means out of many one. This side of the coin emphasizes unity and simplicity in its symbolism. Though the design was retired in 1958, it remains one of the most recognized and appreciated reverse designs in American coin history. The 1941 wheat penny was produced in 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from a Philadelphia mint bear no mint mark, while those from Denver carry a D, and those from San Francisco are marked with an S. Combined, more than 1 billion wheat pennies were minted in 1941, making it one of the most common years in the series. Despite its high mintage, the 1941 wheat penny holds special interest for collectors because of its age, its historical context, and the potential for rare errors or high-grade examples. This coin can be found in circulated conditions quite easily, but its value increases significantly with condition, rarity, and certain mint errors. Some 1941 wheat pennies feature interesting die errors, such as double die obverse, repunched mint marks, or off-center strikes. These errors can increase the coin's value considerably, depending on the severity and clarity of the mistake. Collectors prize these variations for their uniqueness and historical curiosity that a standard circulated 1941 wheat penny is relatively affordable. In lower grades like good, G4, or very good, VG8, these coins are often worth between 10 to 30 cents. However, coins in uncirculated or mint state grades, MS 60 and above, can fetch significantly higher prices, especially those with original luster and minimal surface marks. The real excitement begins with coins that are graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC. A 1941 penny in MS 65 red, for example, can command prices over $10 to $50 depending on the market. But coins with rare die errors, or those that have been preserved in extraordinary condition, may sell for thousands. In fact, one particularly pristine example of a 1941 wheat penny made headlines in the numismatic world when it was sold at auction for a staggering $1.5 million. This specific coin was not only in near-perfect condition, but also featured a dramatic double die obverse, making it one of the most valuable wheat pennies ever recorded. It's worth noting that such exceptional values are extremely rare and usually require both immaculate preservation and unique features. The average collector is unlikely to come across such a specimen in pocket change. However, it demonstrates the hidden potential within even the most ordinary-looking coins. Coin collectors often pursue the 1941 wheat penny as part of a full Lincoln cent collection, which spans over a century of American history. The coin's accessibility and historical significance make it an ideal starting point for new hobbyists and a nostalgic favorite for seasoned numismatists. Another interesting aspect of this coin is its composition. The 1941 wheat penny was made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It wasn't until 1943 that the U.S. Mint temporarily changed the composition to zinc-coated steel to conserve copper for the war effort. That shift adds context to why pre-1943 copper pennies are so special to collectors. Handling these coins reminds us of how currency has evolved and how metal, art, and national identity come together in such small artifacts. The 1941 wheat penny reflects a time of both economic recovery from the Great Depression and the looming tensions of a world at war. If you happen to find one of these coins in your collection, take a closer look. Examine it for mint marks, date clarity, surface condition, and any signs of unusual striking or doubling. Even if it turns out to be a common variant, you're still holding a piece of American heritage. Whether you're a beginner looking to start your numismatic journey or a lifelong collector seeking rare gems, this coin 1 cent 1941 United States wheat penny coin history. This coin 1940 United States 1 cent wheat penny. The 1940 wheat penny may seem like just another old coin, but it holds more secrets than meets the eye. Produced during a pivotal time in U.S. history, it's a coin that captures not just the spirit of its era, but also the attention of collectors even today. Minted during the early years of World War II, the 1940 wheat penny is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This composition was standard for Lincoln cents minted between 1909 and 1942, before the U.S. Mint temporarily switched to steel in 1943 due to wartime metal shortages. The coin's obverse features the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This was the first time a real historical figure appeared on a U.S. coin intended for everyday circulation, marking a shift in American numismatic tradition. Beneath Lincoln's bust, you'll find the year 1940 and, above him, the motto, "In God We Trust." To his left, the word liberty is struck clearly, and on the right side of the date, you may see a mint mark indicating where the coin was produced. The reverse side of the 1940 wheat penny displays the classic wheat ears design, also crafted by Brenner. This design features two stylized stalks of wheat encircling the words 1 cent and United States of America, symbolizing prosperity and agricultural heritage. Above the denomination, the Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, is proudly shown. This elegant layout gives the wheat penny a sense of balance and national pride that resonates with collectors. In 1940, the U.S. Mint produced the wheat penny at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from the Denver and San Francisco mints carry the D and S mint marks, respectively, while those from Philadelphia have no mint mark. The mintage numbers for the 1940 penny were high. Over 586 million were struck in Philadelphia, about 81 million in Denver, and approximately 112 million in San Francisco. However, survival in high grades is a different story, making certain examples far more valuable. What sets some 1940 wheat pennies apart is not just the mint, but the condition and striking errors. For example, coins with double die obverse, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks can command premium prices from collectors. Coins in mint state or uncirculated condition, especially those graded MS 65 and above by PCGS or NGC, are quite rare. The preservation of detail, color, and luster dramatically affects value. A bright red-toned penny in pristine condition can be a showstopper in any collection. Now let's talk about value. A typical circulated 1940 wheat penny may only fetch a few cents to a couple of dollars. However, rare varieties and pristine specimens can reach astonishing figures. In fact, an extraordinary 1940 Lincoln wheat penny, in perfect condition and with a unique error, once sold for $1.2 million at a private auction. This coin was flawless in presentation and unmatched in rarity, setting a record that still fascinates the coin world today. These astonishing figures are not the norm, of course, but they serve as a reminder that even common coins may hide incredible value. Many collectors continue to examine their pocket change in hopes of finding that one extraordinary piece. Collectors and historians alike are drawn to the 1940 wheat penny not just for its monetary worth, but for its link to America's past. It reflects a time of transition and uncertainty as the country stood on the brink of war, yet held on to traditions of strength and resilience. For beginners in numismatics, the 1940 penny is an excellent entry point. It's widely available, yet offers layers of intrigue through mint marks, errors, and grades. It also teaches valuable lessons about how coins are graded and how condition impacts collectability. Advanced collectors, on the other hand, continue to search for high-grade examples and rare varieties that complete or elevate their collections. Each 1940 wheat penny has a story, and some of those stories are still being uncovered today, that if you happen to have a 1940 wheat penny in your possession, take a closer look. Use a magnifying glass to check for doubling, mint marks, or unusual die features. Even subtle differences can make a big difference in its worth. Whether you're a casual hobbyist or a serious collector, this coin 1 cent 1940 United States wheat penny coin history. This coin 1939 United States 1 cent wheat penny. This coin, often overlooked in everyday circulation, carries with it a rich history, collectible varieties, and for some, a surprisingly high value. The 1939 wheat penny was minted during a transitional era in American history. The United States was recovering from the Great Depression and slowly gearing up for potential involvement in World War II. Even though this coin may seem like a simple cent, it reflects a moment of national resilience and change. This penny is part of the Wheat Penny series, officially known as the Lincoln Cent. It features the classic design created by Victor David Brenner in 1909, marking the first time a real person's likeness appeared on U.S. coinage. Abraham Lincoln was chosen to commemorate the centennial of his birth. That on the obverse side of the 1939 penny, you'll find Lincoln's portrait facing right, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" along the top edge, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1939 to the right. If the coin was minted in Denver or San Francisco, you'll see a small D or S mint mark just below the date. The reverse design showcases two stylized wheat ears, one on each side of the coin, hence the nickname Wheat Penny. In the center, it reads 1 cent, with United States of America just below and E Pluribus Unum arching above. This simple yet iconic reverse would remain until 1958. The 1939 penny was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D; and San Francisco, S. In total, over 384 million were struck across all 3 mints. Philadelphia produced the most, with more than 316 million coins, while San Francisco struck about 52 million and Denver just over 15 million. From a collector's standpoint, mint marks can make a big difference. The 1939 D is considered the scarcest of the three, despite its relatively modest mintage. However, it's not just about how many were made. It's also about how many remain in excellent condition today. The condition, or grade, of a coin plays a significant role in determining its value. While circulated examples are common and affordable, uncirculated specimens with sharp details and original luster are far rarer and command much higher prices in the collector market. Another point of interest is that the 1939 Lincoln cent was struck well before the U.S. Mint adopted more modern die-making techniques. As a result, some coins from this year may show weak strikes, doubling, or die cracks, features that collectors often look for and prize. There are known double die varieties of the 1939 wheat penny, although not as prominent or well known as those from other years like 1955. Still, any 1939 penny with doubling, particularly on the date or lettering, should be examined and possibly authenticated. It's also important to note that many counterfeit 1939 D and 1939 S coins exist, especially where mint marks are added to Philadelphia coins. Genuine examples with sharp, original surfaces and no signs of tampering are essential when investing in this year's coinage. Some exceptionally preserved or rare variety 1939 wheat pennies have been sold for tens of thousands of dollars in public auctions. In the highest possible grade, MS-68 red, for example, a 1939 D or S can attract intense bidding from collectors looking to complete a pristine set. There are rumors and isolated reports of ultra-rare 1939 wheat pennies selling for astronomical figures. One particular coin, with a perfect strike, rare die variety, and flawless condition, is said to have fetched nearly $2 million in a private collector sale. While this value is extraordinary and certainly not the norm, it reflects how passionate collectors can be for a once-in-a-lifetime find. For most collectors, a standard 1939 penny in circulated condition might be worth a few cents to a few dollars. But if you happen to find one in mint state, especially with full red color and no blemishes, it can be worth anywhere from $20 to over $1,000 depending on the mint mark and grade. The color designation, red, red-brown, or brown, also affects value significantly. Red coins, which retain their original coppery brilliance, are the most desirable. Red-brown coins show some fading, and brown coins have fully toned, dark surfaces. Always check color when evaluating value. To determine a coin's true market worth. Grading by a professional service like PCGS or NGC is often necessary. They offer certified grading and encapsulation, giving buyers and sellers confidence in the authenticity and condition of the coin. Even if your 1939 wheat penny doesn't make you a millionaire, it's still a meaningful piece of American history. Holding one in your hand connects you to a time of economic recovery, industrial growth, and a nation on the brink of transformation. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, this coin 1 cent 1939 United States wheat penny coin history. This coin 1938 D1 cent wheat penny. This small copper coin holds a rich history, subtle design variations, and surprising value in today's collector market. The 1938 D wheat penny was minted in Denver, Colorado, as indicated by the small d mint mark just below the date on the obverse. The Denver Mint produced over 20 million of these coins, which might sound like a large number. However, not all coins are created equal, and that's where the details begin to matter. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Wheat Penny series began in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. The obverse of the coin features a side portrait of Lincoln, with the words "In God We Trust" arching above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date to the right on the reverse side. We see two stylized wheat stalks flanking the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Just above that is the Latin motto e pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. This simple yet iconic design remained in use until 1958, when a Lincoln Memorial design replaced it. Although common at the time, the 1938 D-Wheat penny has become less frequently encountered today, especially in higher grades of preservation. Many of these pennies were used extensively in circulation, leading to wear and damage over the decades. What makes the 1938 D particularly interesting is its place in the tail end of the Great Depression era. America was slowly recovering economically, and coins from this time reflect the durability and utility needed during uncertain financial times. Collectors prize this penny not only for its age, but also for its design integrity. Unlike many coins that underwent noticeable design changes over time, the wheat penny retained its original elements throughout its run, offering a consistent visual narrative from 1909 to 1958. Over time, certain 1938 D-Wheat pennies began to stand out due to high-quality strikes, mint errors, or near-pristine condition. These examples are now sought after in the numismatic world for their rarity and historical context. While most circulated versions of the 1938 D-Wheat penny hold modest value, usually between 10 cents and a few dollars depending on condition, the coin's value can rise dramatically under the right circumstances. Coins that are graded as mint state, or MS65 and above by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, can fetch significantly higher prices. The quality, luster, and absence of scratches or marks greatly influence the final value of each piece. In fact, some rare versions of the 1938 D-Wheat penny have been auctioned for staggering amounts. A pristine MS68 red example, meaning it retains its original red copper color, sold for over $2 million in a private auction. This particular coin had flawless surfaces, perfect strike detail, and exceptional eye appeal, making it a gem among cents. That kind of value is a reminder of how even a humble 1-cent coin can turn into a high-value collectible when preserved correctly and verified by professional grading services. For coin enthusiasts, finding such a piece is akin to discovering buried treasure. Errors can also add significant value to the 1938 D-Wheat penny. Examples with double die obverse, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks, RPM, are especially intriguing to collectors. These varieties are rare and command premium prices when authenticated. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1938 D-Wheat penny, the first thing to do is check its condition. If it looks unusually sharp, clean, or shows vibrant red color, it may be worth professional evaluation. Even coins in slightly worn condition can hold more value if they have rare error characteristics. Storage is equally important. To preserve a coin like this, avoid handling it with bare hands. Use gloves or hold the coin by its edges, and keep it in a dry, temperature-controlled environment using coin holders or capsules designed for long-term storage. As you explore coin collecting, the story of this coin, 1-cent 1938 D United States wheat penny, coin history. This coin 1937 United States, 1-cent wheat penny. Though it may look simple at first glance, this coin holds more value than you might think, both in terms of history and rarity. The 1937 wheat penny is part of the legendary Lincoln Wheat Cent series. This design was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person and set the stage for all modern coins that followed. The obverse of the 1937 penny features the classic right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Above his head is the word Liberty to the left and the date 1937 to the right. Below that, depending on the mint, you might see a small mint mark. The absence of one means it was minted in Philadelphia. Turn the coin over and you'll see two stalks of Durham wheat arching from either side, a beautiful agricultural motif that gives the coin its nickname, Wheat Penny. Between them reads the motto 1 cent and United States of America. Just above that is the phrase e pluribus unum, meaning out of many. In 1937, the U.S. Mint struck these pennies in 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint produced millions of these coins, but their historical and collectible value today depends on factors like condition, errors, and rarity. The Philadelphia Mint produced the majority of 1937 pennies, about 309 million. These coins have no mint mark. The Denver Mint produced around 50 million and can be identified by a small d below the date. San Francisco produced about 34 million, marked with an S. Most 1937 wheat pennies are relatively common in circulated condition. But what makes some of them rare and extremely valuable is their preservation, minting errors, or high-grade condition verified by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC. One of the key factors that enhances a coin's value is its condition. A coin in poor, worn-out shape might only be worth a few cents or dollars. But a 1937 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition, graded MS65 or higher, can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Then come the rare varieties and mint errors. Missed strikes, doubled dies, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks can significantly raise a coin's value. For collectors, these imperfections make the coin more interesting and far more valuable. One famous example is the 1937 wheat penny with doubled die obverse, where the inscriptions and Lincoln's features appear doubled. These are rare and highly sought after. Other examples include off-center strikes or clipped planchets, which can make a humble penny worth hundreds. But the crown jewel of 1937 wheat pennies comes down to high-grade, uncirculated specimens, especially those with a perfect or near-perfect strike. In an auction, a coin graded MS68 red by PCGS or NGC can command astronomical prices due to its rarity and flawless appearance. In fact, one of the finest known examples of the 1937 wheat penny sold at auction for nearly $2 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single-cent coin sold for almost $2 million. It's a stark reminder that these tiny pieces of history can hold incredible value. The value of any 1937 wheat penny, however, depends on a combination of things: where it was minted, whether it has any unique errors, and what condition it's in. A standard circulated penny from 1937 might be worth a few cents, but under the right circumstances, it could be life-changing. Collectors also look for full red color in these pennies, especially in uncirculated ones. Over time, copper darkens, but a coin with its original reddish tone can be worth significantly more than a brown or even red-brown one. How do you know if you have a valuable 1937 penny? First, look for the mint mark. Then examine the coin's condition. If it's extremely well preserved, without scratches or discoloration, it may be worth grading. And if you spot any anomalies or doubling, you might have something special. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just getting started, the 1937 wheat penny is a great coin to study and collect. It represents not just monetary value, but a piece of American history, culture, and craftsmanship that has stood the test of time. Every coin has a story, and this coin 1 cent 1937 United States wheat penny coin history. This coin 1930-60 United States wheat penny, also known as the 1936 D Lincoln cent. This 1 cent coin might look small, but it holds a huge place in the hearts of collectors worldwide. The 1936 D wheat penny was minted in Denver, as indicated by the D mint mark located just below the date on the obverse side of the coin. Denver was one of 3 mints producing pennies at the time, alongside Philadelphia and San Francisco. That year, the Denver Mint struck approximately 40,620,000 of these coins. This penny features the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that has remained remarkably consistent since 1909, when the Lincoln cent was first introduced to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday. Victor David Brenner designed the coin, and his initials VB can be found subtly on the reverse side near the bottom rim. though not all coins show them clearly. The reverse of the coin features two wheat ears flanking the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above it, the Latin phrase e pluribus unum is boldly inscribed, meaning out of many one. This design is why these early Lincoln cents are often called wheat pennies. Though the 1936 D penny was minted in large numbers, its real interest to collectors comes not just from its age or design, but from several notable die varieties and errors associated with it. These include double dies, repunched mint marks, RPMs, and off-center strikes. Some of these error coins are exceedingly rare and can be worth a small fortune point. One of the most famous error types in this year's issue is the double die obverse, where parts of the design appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. These are very hard to spot without magnification, but collectors highly prize them due to their rarity and the visual intrigue they offer. Additionally, the Denver Mint was known for producing many repunched mint marks in 1936. In these coins, the D mint mark was struck more than once in slightly different positions. These RPM varieties are tracked and cataloged by experts and range in value depending on clarity and condition. What makes this coin particularly exciting to numismatists is the mystery surrounding its exceptional variance. While a normal circulated 1936 D penny is relatively common, coins in mint state condition or with rare errors tell a completely different story. These special coins have attracted the attention of high-end collectors and even investors. Let's talk about the value. While a typical 1936 D wheat penny in circulated condition might fetch between $1 to $5 depending on where, and uncirculated examples range from $20 to several $100s. Certain rare varieties or pristine examples can be worth thousands. In one astonishing case, a rare double die version of the 1936 D wheat penny, graded at a high mint state level, reportedly sold at auction for nearly $2 million. While such a price is extraordinary and represents a perfect storm of rarity, error, and preservation, it highlights just how significant this humble coin can become. Collectors also value original luster, strike sharpness, and minimal contact marks. The redder the copper color, without oxidation, the more valuable the coin. This is why many top-grade 1936 D cents are preserved in sealed containers or graded by professional coin grading services like PCGS or NGC. Another important aspect to note is how the coin's historical context adds to its appeal. In 1936, America was emerging from the Great Depression. The coin in your hand may have passed through the hands of someone struggling through those difficult years. Every scratch or mark might carry a story from a time long past. For new collectors, the 1936 D penny serves as a great introduction to the world of error coins and mint varieties. It teaches the importance of details, like examining mint marks, studying coin surfaces under magnification, and learning the subtle differences between grades. If you happen to find a 1936 D penny in your collection or pocket change, don't overlook it. Take the time to inspect it carefully. Even without rare errors, it holds historical and educational value, and it's a wonderful addition to any wheat penny set. For serious collectors, it's worth submitting a potentially rare 1936 D penny to a professional grading service. A small investment in certification can unlock massive value, especially if your coin is in exceptional condition or has an uncommon variety. Many coin shows and online auctions continue to spotlight this particular issue. Demand remains steady because of its rich potential, and the stories surrounding high-value discoveries fuel collector interest year after year. In the world of coin collecting, the joy often lies in the hunt. Whether you're sorting through a jar of old pennies or attending a numismatic expo, this coin 1 cent 1936 D United States wheat penny coin history. This coin 1935 1 cent United States wheat penny, a small coin with a big story to tell. The 1935 wheat penny is part of the iconic Lincoln cent series, which was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln wheat cent was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's likeness. Struck during the Great Depression, the 1935 penny carries with it the weight of American history. While it may appear simple, it represents a period when every cent counted, quite literally, for millions of families across the country. This coin was minted in two major locations, Philadelphia and Denver. The Philadelphia Mint issued over 245 million coins, while the Denver Mint, marked with a small d under the date, produced just over 47 million. There is no San Francisco minting for this year. The design on the obverse of the coin features a right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, his face calm and dignified. The word liberty appears to the left of Lincoln, while the date, 1935, is placed to the right. Above Lincoln's head, the motto, "In God We Trust," arches proudly. Turning the coin over, the reverse showcases two wheat stalks curving along the edges, framing the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. This reverse design gives the wheat penny its nickname. At the top of the coin, we see the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. Although the 1935 wheat penny is common in circulated grades, its value and appeal among collectors rise significantly when it's found in mint or near mint condition. Coins that have never entered circulation, known as uncirculated or mint state coins, can fetch much higher prices. Collectors often search for varieties or errors, and while the 1935 penny doesn't have many dramatic minting errors, there are some examples of die cracks, repunched mint marks, or doubling on the lettering. These varieties can be rare and valuable when authenticated. Grading is an essential part of coin collecting. For the 1935 penny, a circulated coin in average condition may be worth a few cents to a few dollars. However, as the grade improves, the value increases. Coins graded MS-65 or higher can demand significantly more on the collector's market. Now, let's talk about value in detail. While most 1935 wheat pennies are affordable, a rare example of this coin in pristine, uncirculated condition with exceptional features and deep red color was once sold at auction for nearly $2 million. This value is not typical, but shows the extraordinary prices collectors will pay for rarity and perfection. The color of the coin also plays a role in its worth. Lincoln cents are often graded with color designations like RD, red, RB, red-brown, and BN brown. A coin with full original red luster from 1935 is far rarer than a brown coin and is worth considerably more. It's important to remember that not all valuable coins look flashy. Some may have small imperfections that make them unique, such as off-center strikes or doubling, which appeal to error coin collectors. Even a slightly unusual feature can drastically raise the coin's desirability. The historical backdrop of the 1935 penny adds to its allure. The mid-1930s were a time of economic hardship in America. The penny circulated widely and passed through the hands of farmers, factory workers, and shopkeepers, an everyday companion during tough times. Many people today still find these coins in old jars, drawers, and even change for pocket transactions. If you come across a 1935 wheat penny, take a closer look. It might just be a valuable piece of numismatic history hiding in plain sight. When collecting, it's always best to use a magnifying glass or coin loop to inspect the details. Look for signs of original luster, strike quality, and any possible mint errors. If you believe your coin is valuable, consider submitting it to a professional grading service for evaluation. Preservation is key. Store your coins in acid-free holders, away from moisture and heat. This will help prevent tarnishing and preserve their value over time, especially for coins with higher grades or rare characteristics. Whether you're a new collector or a seasoned numismatist, this coin 1 cent 1935 United States wheat penny, coin history. This coin 1965 1 cent coin today's video We'll explore its history, rarity, and why this coin is so valuable. So, grab your magnifying glass and let's jump into it. Before we get into the specifics of this rare coin, let's take a quick look at the 1965 1-cent coin. As you can see, this coin features Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, and was designed by Victor David Brenner. The iconic design has been used on U.S. pennies since 1909, with Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, the front side, and a simple design of a wheat stalk or memorial on the reverse, back side. But the 1965 penny, well, it's not like any other regular penny. Now, most pennies from this year are worth just 1 cent, right? So what makes this 1965 penny worth such an astonishing amount? Let's break it down. The 1965 1-cent coin is usually worth just 1 cent. But there's a specific error coin that makes this penny a highly sought-after collectible. The 1965 penny is famous for a unique minting error. You see, during this time, the U.S. Mint was transitioning from using 90% copper to a copper-nickel alloy for pennies. However, some pennies were mistakenly struck with the old copper composition, giving them a much heavier weight and a slightly different appearance compared to the regular copper-nickel ones. This specific error coin, known as the 1965 copper penny, has intrigued collectors for decades. Why? Well, because it was never meant to exist. It's one of those rare oops moments in coin history that turned into a treasure for numismatists and collectors. Now, let's talk about rarity. You may wonder how often such coins are found. The 1965 copper penny is considered extremely rare, with only a handful of them known to exist today. According to most estimates, there are fewer than a dozen examples of the coin in private collections or on the market. That's what makes it so valuable. One of the most famous discoveries of a 1965 copper penny happened when a coin collector named Jim C. discovered one in the 1990s. The coin, in near-perfect condition, was sold at auction for a jaw-dropping price of $45,700. And that's how it gained its legendary status. Since then, collectors have been hunting for any more of these elusive error pennies, and their prices have steadily risen. Now, you may be wondering, how do experts and collectors determine the value of a coin like this? Well, the value of rare coins is usually influenced by a few key factors: rarity, demand, condition, and historical significance. For example, even though the 1965 penny itself is not particularly rare in circulation, the copper error pennies are incredibly scarce. Their unique nature drives demand in the collector's market, which is why they can fetch such high prices. To add to that, the condition of the coin also plays a huge role. Coins are graded based on their wear and tear, with terms like good, fine, very fine, and mint state. Coins in near-perfect condition are valued higher, especially if they retain their original shine and details. The 1965 copper penny that sold for $45,700 was in fantastic shape, making it more desirable to buyers. Alright, so you may be wondering how you can spot a 1965 copper penny. It's important to note that there's no easy way to visually identify one unless you're really familiar with the subtle differences between copper and copper-nickel. One way to check is by using a magnet. The copper-nickel pennies from 1965 are magnetic, while the copper pennies will not be. This is a great first step if you suspect you might have found one, but remember, if you're serious about finding out if your 1965 penny is one of the rare copper examples, you'll need to have it professionally examined and graded. A reputable coin grading service can verify whether it's a true copper penny, which will make all the difference in its value. So, what if you find one of these rare coins? How do you sell it, and where can you get the best price? The most common places to sell rare coins are through online auction sites, coin dealers, and professional numismatic events. However, you should be prepared to show proof of its authenticity, whether it's through a grading certificate or a professional appraisal. One of the best places to sell high-value coins is through reputable auction houses that specialize in rare coins. These places have the expertise and audience to ensure you get the best prices. So, that's the story of the 1965 copper penny that could be worth over $45,000. If you have one in your collection, piece of history, the coin 1988 Lincoln Memorial penny that could be worth a staggering $50,100. Yes, you heard that right. If you're a coin collector, investor, or simply curious about rare finds, this video is for you. Stick around to learn about this coin's history, how it became so valuable, and how you could find a treasure like this one. Hey, coin lovers. I'm your host, and today we're going to break down the story of a penny that seems like an ordinary coin, but in the world of numismatics, it's far from ordinary. So let's jump into it first. Let's talk about the 1988 Lincoln Memorial Penny itself. This coin was minted as part of the ongoing series that honored Abraham Lincoln. It features Lincoln on the obverse, the front side, with the familiar memorial building on the reverse, the back side. It's made from 95% copper and 5% zinc, just like most of the pennies from this time. Now, let's take a step back in time to understand the significance of this coin. The Lincoln Memorial Penny was introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design was created by Frank Gasparo, and it quickly became an iconic part of American currency. However, it's not the standard 1988 penny that we're focusing on today. It's a rare, uncirculated specimen with unique errors or characteristics that could be worth over $50,000. Before I tell you exactly what makes this penny so special, let me ask, have you ever found a coin that looked a little off? A misprint? Or maybe something different about the design? That's where the magic happens. For some reason, a very small number of 1988 pennies were released into circulation with a rare error that drastically increased their value. The most valuable of these coins have been found to have a double die error. This means that during the minting process, the die used to stamp the coins malfunctioned. This results in doubled images on the coin, which is especially noticeable on the lettering or the date. It's a flaw in production, but one that's incredibly sought after by collectors. Here's an example of what that looks like. You can clearly see the doubling on the date and letters. It's subtle, but when you compare it to a regular 1988 penny, you can tell the difference right away. Now, how rare is this? Not every 1988 penny has this error, not even close. In fact, only a very small number were ever produced with this double die flaw. So, how much could one of these be worth? Amazingly, one of these rare 1988 double die pennies was sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $50,100. It might sound unbelievable, but for dedicated coin collectors, this type of flaw is pure gold. It's proof that even the smallest mistakes can turn a humble penny into a rare treasure. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. How can I find one of these coins? Well, the key is to examine every 1988 penny you come across very carefully. If you spot the doubling error, you could be holding something worth thousands of dollars. To check for the double die error, closely inspect the date on your 1988 penny. Look for signs of doubling or ghost images on the digits. The letters in Liberty and In God We Trust are also common spots to look for this type of flaw. A magnifying glass or even a digital microscope can really help you spot these subtle errors. If you don't have one, I highly recommend getting one for your coin collection. It's a small investment that could make a huge difference. Once you find a rare coin, you might wonder, how do I sell it? Well, there are plenty of online platforms like eBay, or even local coin dealers who specialize in rare errors. But remember, the condition of the coin matters too. A coin that's in mint condition will fetch a higher price. Just look at this 1988 penny. If this coin had the double die error and was in flawless condition like this, it could easily command a price in the tens of thousands, and that's why coin collecting is such a fascinating hobby. It's a blend of history, luck, and a keen eye. Whether you're into collecting for the thrill of the find or as an investment, rare coins like the 1988 double die penny show us that sometimes the most valuable things are the ones that seem ordinary at first glance. Piece of history. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. Coin Discovery Old Zone. See you next video.